You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's Tuesday night. You know what that means? It's time for the Wrestling Nerdcast. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, we have something special. It's been 12 months. That's right, 365 days since episode 1 of the Wrestling Nerdcast. With that being said, as usual, I am your host, the Worldwide Grand Prix champion, the IWA North Carolina champion, the disrespectful intellectual, the Southern gentleman, the Morning Star, the incredible Huck, Will Huckabee. And as usual for the last couple of weeks, week in, week out, you've gotten to know her, you've gotten to love her, and some of you send her unsolicited stuff. My co-host, one half of the World Curious commentary team, you can see her every month or every time, there's a Mucha Lucha Atlanta show or the AWE Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment show. And you can follow her on social media, especially her Snapchat. I don't have one, but I heard it's popping. Anyway, my co-host, the lover of waffles, the voice of the speech impediment, Mika Villas. Mika, what's going on, girl?
Oh my gosh, you are what's going on. I'm just here to stroke your ego because I'm just a hood ornament in this speedy car that's been on the road for over a year now. I'm just glad to be a passenger while you drive us recklessly down the wrong way of a one-way street.
I don't know if you're just like the hood ornament. I mean, because ever since you got on the show, we've kind of blown up. I mean, the social media is popping, our listeners is popping, our followers on social media is popping. So I don't know if you just be the passenger. I think you might be the 22-inch rims on this car. You know what I'm saying? You might be the big, huge grill on this car that's driving the wrong way down a one-way street.
I just went from a hood ornament to a big grill or some fat ass rims. That is so hood. I don't even know what to say other than thank you. I think no, but seriously, it is. I'm happy to be here. This is just exciting. I mean, it's been a year. I've gone back and I was a fan, and now here I am getting to talk wrestling and talk with some great people alongside someone I consider a good person and an excellent wrestler. Gosh, why am I stuck in your ego so much? It must be all the Halloween candy I've consumed. I'm going to stop now because the sugar rush is making me too sweet. No gimmick infringement. I didn't do the hand thing. No cease and desist necessary.
But so you better cut that down to one sweet, homie. Usually, ladies and gentlemen, we have our podcast, the host with the most, my A1 since day one, Killer Cav, behind the boards and stuff. But because of situations through no fault of his own, because of unfortunate circumstances, Killer Kev has decided that he has to take a hiatus from the show. But you know what, Kev? We still love you. You're still part of the Wrestling Nerdcast family. But standing in his steed is someone who is highly qualified to fill in the shoes of Killer Kev. It's a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. He's a wrestling fan. He is a journalist in his own right. He is a computer guru. And we're glad to have him on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the third voice to the Wrestling Nerdcast, my homie CW. What's up, C-Dub?
Not a damn thing.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, don't get us confused. It's not C.W. Anderson. He's nowhere near as tall, nowhere near as good-looking, and nowhere near as dangerous. But anyway, C-Dub, welcome to the show, man. How's it feel to be the producer on one of the hottest podcasts in wrestling right now?
It's interesting. This being my first day, you guys have handled everything pretty professionally. I've got everything squared away within 6 hours. I think I'm doing pretty good.
Yo, man, I told you, man. Like, look, as soon as Kev said, "Hey, I'm having some. You already know my situation. I'm not capable to really continue to work on the show." You were the first person I thought of, man. I was like, you know what? I got the perfect person to fill in for Killer Kev.
Well, you're probably right about that.
Anyway, let's talk wrestling. Let's talk about this past weekend. First of all, me myself, through no circumstances because of circumstances beyond my control, I did absolutely zero wrestling this weekend. I didn't watch wrestling really, besides New Japan. I didn't go to any wrestling shows. I had to cancel a couple of shows. But what I did do was go see my youngest daughter, Ariana, play her last game of football. It was the last game of the season. She did fan-fucking-tabulous. She got like 4 tackles, almost got a bunch of sacks. Like, she was terrorizing the offensive line, terrorizing the quarterback. You know, like, she totally made me proud. Like, I'm just sitting there like a proud dad watching my girl just beat up all these little boys. Like, I don't know if there's any other moment in a dad's life that can be more proud of than watching his daughter and stuff beat up some little boys her age. What about you, Mika? What did you do this weekend?
I didn't beat up any boys my age, younger or older. And congratulations to Ari for terrorizing the boys and, being a terror. I wonder where she gets that from. But I digress. I had a wrestling weekend. It was jam-packed, and I did the drives. I started off in Georgia still, but kind of far out from my area. I went to UIW, Universal Independent Wrestling, the sister promotion of AWE. They put on a show out in Villa Rica, Georgia. It was their main event was Murder One versus Siler Cross in a Fans Bring the Weapons match. That is always wild. This was a family-friendly show, but there was blood, so, I was happy. I dressed up along with my other partner in crime, half of wrestling's cutest commentary team, Danny Danger, and I did a little Justice Leaguing there. I was Wonder Woman. He was Batman. We were fantastic. You mentioned my social media. There are pictures there for those who want to look but don't touch them. I mean, just check it out and see the pictures and what's happening. We had fun there. Lots of good action, lots of guys and girls that I know were there performing. That was on Friday, and then Saturday.
Hey, can I go ahead and say, like, I've seen the pictures of you in the Wonder Woman outfit, and you had all the thigh meat out. Okay, you had the whole leg out, girl. Like, so if you start getting some messages this week, don't be mad, because you had all the legs out, girl. You were showing. Look, as Jerry Lawler would say, the puppies were free, the legs was out. Like, you was just like whatever. Like, Jesus Christ, girl. Last time I seen that much skin, I had to pay some money for that.
Oh my God. Yeah, about that. Yeah, usually I'm such a nun, covered from head to toe in a habit or habib, whatever. But, it was Halloweenish, so I broke out the outfit. And I'll share a secret with anybody listening. This is cool in Georgia. I mean, cold. It was 47 degrees, and I was literally running around pretty much almost undressed and my butt hanging out. So that's not comfortable, and I don't know how girls do it on a regular basis, and it's not something that I would recommend to anybody, but it was fun. It was different, and, this is probably the only time of year that I will be in such a state of undress. So yeah, that there was that on Saturday. And so Sunday I put all my clothes on and I headed south. I went south to Gainesville, Florida, to the 8-Second Bar for Fest Wrestling. Fest was a festival of wrestling that went on from like 2 p.m. The wrestling started and it went until about 10 p.m. There was wrestling. There were live bands. The Randy Savages, which is of course, a band that's kind of a cover band dedicated to wrestling, talking about Macho Man and their songs and what have you. But Fest Wrestling was fantastic. It was a packed card. When I tell you the card was packed, there were so many names on it. It's ridiculous. Almost a who's who in independent wrestling. Su Young is a Fest champion. She took on sexy Chucky Taylor. So it was Chucky T, the Kentucky gentleman who was not a gentleman in that match. He gave it to Su Young, who retained her title, but he also had her dress on and was trying to keep his modesty by keeping the dress up, which is kind of cool, kind of fun. Priscilla Kelly was there. Camilla Kane, friend of the show, was in the house. Amy Rose was there. let's see, Matt Cross, or Son of Havoc, or as the PBRs were flowing, I might call him, Mad Dog 2020 Cross. But he was there. Serpentico was there. Jason K. I mean, literally the list goes on and on and on. There were even some notable names who just came to watch the festivities in the crowd. I saw a spotting of a girl on fire who might have not been quite on fire, as her hair was all dark. She was in the house. I saw Billy Brash in the house. Saw a couple of North Carolina boys.
Of course, hold on. Of course you're going to see Billy Brash there, because for some ungodly reason, Billy Brash thinks that PBR is like the greatest beer on God's green earth. And we've argued, I don't know how many times, about how horrible PBR is. Like, I have to get drunk before I drink a PBR. I have to be like 12 beers in deep before I even think about drinking a PBR. So Billy Brash, if you're listening, and I'm going to post this on Twitter so he can listen to it. PBR is the worst beer this side of 211. Like, it is horrible. It is terrible. Give me an Old English 800 any day.
Ew. Okay, so I'm not a beer connoisseur. I don't have my pinky in the air. I drink liquor mostly. But I can tell you that when I went to Fest in July, they had Christmas in July with the PBR being a sponsor. I said, I will support the sponsors who've helped put on such a great show. And somebody bought me a PBR. Again, not a beer drinker. I drank it. PBR was my first beer. PBR broke me into the beerness here, okay? So I took another PBR. It wasn't the best thing I've ever put in my mouth, but it certainly wasn't the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. So I'm not going to argue with you, because clearly you're, OE, 8-ball, whatever. You drink what you drink, but they sponsor the wrestling, and the stuff was cheap, and I'm not a cheap person, but I'm all about cheap drinks. So PBR was $3 a can.
PBR is the drink of college students. It's like PBR and Natty Light. The only thing I would drink PBR before is like anything with Milwaukee's Best. All right, like once you get to Milwaukee's Best, now that's just bottom of the barrel. But yeah, PBR is horrible. Anyway, all right, let's hurry up. What else did you do this weekend?
So yeah, after Gainesville, down there, kind of hanging out with the boys and girls of wrestling. Oh yeah, Ugly Ducklings, Gym Nasty Boys put on a crazy, crazy match. They're just, that was all on Sunday. So Sunday, Saturday night wrestling, Sunday all day kind of wrestling on the road, doing the drives. Came back home Monday and rolled right into work, literally from wrestling. So I did the drives. I really, truly was on the road, and it was a great time. I would do it again. You lose a lot of sleep, but the fun you have in between is absolutely positively worth it. So that was enough. I really, truly had a ball. Eric Cannon was there, speaking of PBRs, and he was really great. He was really fun, and I kind of stalked him a little bit after, but he was cool about it, So
look, speaking of fun, tell me about this Thriller, Sugar D Thriller spot. Please tell me, was that every bit as fun live as it was watching it on my phone?
It was amazing. Sugar Dunkerton has been all over, and it was a freelance coming in, and he teamed up with Jason Sane was his manager, and I right now I forget who else was in the ring with him, but they kind of did like a, hey, you know what? We don't know each other. Let's kind of break the ice. And you're in the middle of a wrestling match, or at the beginning of a wrestling match, like, break the ice? What are you talking about? So literally, they play some music, let's dance, and when you play Thriller, you get possessed by the spirit of Michael in that whole Thriller video. So Suge and his partner started dancing, and people were looking like in the ring like, hey, what are you doing? One of the opponents reached out and touched. When they got touched, they joined the little party. They did the whole little it was crazy. It was wild. The crowd ate it up. The crowd at Fest, if it's in a bar, so it is a younger crowd. It's just amazing because These guys will fly out of the ring into the middle of the crowd. There was just lunacy all over the place, but the good kind of lunacy, where you love in your wrestling, where you look up, there's a body coming at you, or you might have to duck down because there's beer being thrown or chairs or ducklings. Ducklings were flying everywhere. Both the male version and the little squeaky toy version. That's what kind of party / wrestling show fest is. But yeah, Sugar Dunkerton, that Thriller spot. When this comes out, they put this wrestling show on YouTube for free. So I encourage everybody to go and watch anything by Fest. Their Christmas in July, their We Are Family is the name of this one. Love the show, and we'll be definitely heading back again to see the next show that they put on, because the next show is going to be Pickle in the Tree. Yes, I know. The names alone make you go, what the hell? But trust me when I tell you, it'll be worth the drive or showing up if you're in the Gainesville area there, or Florida area, because they're moving that one. They put on a really damn good show. I mean, the only thing I want more is more alcohol and maybe just a little bit close to the ring. I'm spoiled being an AWE fan where I can be literally touching the canvas. There's a line on the floor, so to speak, of tape, literally and truly, where they kind of want the fans to stand back behind it and not be so close to the ring, but they're still a good 2-3 feet from the ring. I don't like that. I don't like restrictions. You know me. I'm damn near on a turnbuckle if I could be. So other than that, Fest is perfect.
Well, I'll tell you, CW, I told you should talk forever. CW, just asking you, CW, did you happen to get a chance to watch any wrestling, go to any wrestling shows? Anything wrestling happened this weekend for you?
I did watch the pay-per-view this weekend.
Oh, Lord. Well, okay, so overall consensus, what did you think about the pay-per-view this weekend?
I actually watched it.
And what
does that tell you anything?
That means that obviously there's at least one match that you really wanted to see. What was the one match you wanted to see? I know you. There had to be at least one match you was interested in.
I was actually really, really interested to see how they would build up for the next pay-per-view, because they're building up for the Survivor Series and this, that. And I was trying to see how they're building up for it, and honestly, when they put Braun inside of a dump truck, that was pretty cool. Attempted murder is always cool, but still.
Attempted murder is always cool. Well, look, somebody who speaking of attempted murder, somebody who I'm pretty sure once or twice has thought about killing me. We're going to talk to our guest tonight. I'm super excited about our guest. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the original host of the Wrestling Nerdcast couldn't make it tonight, Zane Paisley. He had I guess it was just a week for unfortunate circumstances and stuff. I don't know. Or maybe nobody really wants to talk to me anymore. But we have a great guest to fill in for the bearded wonder, Zane Paisley. And ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. We're going to have Zane on the show very, very soon, because I want to talk to my homeboy, my mentor. And I know you people are really wondering what Zane has been up to since he's been a host on the show. But with that being said, CW, please call tonight's guest.
All right. Give me just 1 second.
Hello? Hey, Kim? Yeah, Kim.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Will. All right, you're on the line. It's me and Mika Villas. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest, like I said before, it's probably been somebody who's wanted to kill me at least once or twice since she's known me, but she's a great person. First of all, she should be the first one to tell you, don't think that everybody that you talk to on social media is a man, because this person is all woman, 100%. When you see her, you know it, because she's so attractive. She has the patience of a saint. If you ever see her, you see the person that she's associated with, Mr. Sleeves. And if you know Mr. Sleeves, you know that this lady has the patience of a saint. But with that being said, she is the owner, the creative mind, and as far as I know, the muscle behind professional wrestling's newest and one of the best and hottest indie or wrestling T-shirt merchandise companies, or whatever you want to say, T-shirts, hats, koozies, You name it. If she can put something on it, she can put something on it, she will for you. I've used her services personally myself. And I hope that after this interview, you also will start contacting this company for all of your T-shirt and merchandise needs. Ladies and gentlemen, the owner and genius behind Indie Customs, Kimberly Ann. Kimberly, what's going on?
That was quite an introduction.
I try my best to make sure that our guests have a great introduction. Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're probably like sucking up to me to try to get me to do some crazy order again.
No, never. Never. I want to make sure that you know that we appreciate you coming on the show, and I want you to know how awesome you are. First of all, you're the owner of Indie Customs, which is you do T-shirts and merchandise, not only for wrestlers but for also fans and anybody else that wants something like on a T-shirt or a hat or something. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, I can do I do stuff for everybody. Like a lot of people think it's just wrestling, but it's not.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I see on your social media where you had a specific design. I want to say it was like a geometric type rose or something like that you had on a sweatshirt, and you wore it to a show, and people saw it, and everybody wanted it. It had nothing to do with wrestling whatsoever, but people saw that design, and everybody wanted it. And I want to say that you was like, at first, you wasn't going to release that to the public, but because of the demand, you're starting to release that design now.
Actually, yeah. I'd never sleep. And so one night I was sitting up and I made a couple of designs. I was like, hey, this would be cool to put on a T-shirt. I'm just going to do it for myself. But I put like a little Indie Customs logo on it too. And the one that you're talking about specifically was put on to a tie-dye hoodie. And see, anything tie-dye that I sell or make for anybody, it's like I hand tie-dye it. And so I was like, I'm definitely not going to be making any more of these. And then like all these people start hitting me up like, hey, we want this, we want this, we want this. And I'm like, well, I wasn't going to sell it. And then, like, more and more people were like, hey, we want this. And so I'm, like, seriously staring at a huge box of white T-shirts and white hoodies that I have to tie-dye this week to take those to shows this weekend.
Well, I mean, that's always good when you make a design and you're like, oh, well, nobody's going to want this. This is going to be for me. And all of a sudden, everybody wants it. How did you get into, the T-shirt merchandise business?
When you asked me if I wanted to do this, I was sitting there looking at myself because I figured this would be a question that you would ask. So I'm engaged to Mr. Sleeves, for people who don't know that. And if you know anything about Mr. Sleeves, he's a very sporadic person. And so he comes up with these most crazy, off-the-wall ideas, and he's like, one day we're sitting there, and he's like, hey, what if I just buy the stuff and start making my own T-shirts? Because let's be honest, a lot of T-shirt companies will just rape you. I mean, that's the easiest way to say it. And I was like, you've lost your damn mind. And he just kept on and on and on. He was very adamant about it. He was like, well, save money. I can just do it to make my own shirts. I was like, whatever. You want to buy the stuff? You can buy the stuff. You can make your own T-shirts. And so he did. He bought all the stuff. And I'm sitting here. He's like, hey, I'm going to set this up at your house. And I was like, okay. And so he set it all up, and so I got frustrated with him because I'm a perfectionist. And I'm like, hey, just let me do this for you. Let me do it. And so I started doing it, and like I made him a set of T-shirts, and then somebody was like, hey, you can make T-shirts? Can you make me another set? I was like, yeah, I guess. And they were like, how much? And I looked at how much everybody else was charging, and I looked at how much money we were putting into doing it. And I was like, well, I'm going to compete with these other prices because, I want to be nice and kind of like help everybody out because I know wrestling isn't as much money as everybody thinks it is. Like, I know it's hard for some of the guys. I'm like, hey, I can help them out. I love the business. Why not? And then it was like all of a sudden overnight it went from a joke of me making his T-shirts to I'm making T-shirts for like half the PWX roster. And then it just kept growing and growing from there to now where I have completely quit my day job. Now I do nothing but make T-shirts. And on top of that, living comfortably, I'm also now sponsoring athletes.
Look at that. Now, and we're going to get to the whole sponsored athlete thing. But that's so amazing. So let's let's just say, because I've known you for what, a little over a year now, right?
Yeah, it's probably about that, right around a year.
Probably about a year. And I remember like the first time we met, it was I saw you before a show in like small town North Carolina. I don't remember the name of the damn town, but it was like NAS. It was like NASW. I think it was Hickory. And you had the black shirt with like the gold leaf sleazy T-shirt, and I was like, oh man, that's pretty sweet. Who made those?
The original one, and that's actually one of my absolute favorites. Like, I still have the hoodie and everything for that. Like, it's my favorite.
Yeah, I was like, hey, who made those T-shirts? And like, Sleaze looks at me and he's like, oh, she did. And I was like, oh my God, you make T-shirts? And you're like, well, and you were very humble about it. You were like, well, you know, I make his, I make a couple other guys, but not really. And I was like, so like in the future, if I contact you for shirts, you can do it? And you're like, well, not really, da 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 da. You know, I have a job and we have a kid and my regular life, and this is just something we do on the side. And now, like a year later, you're like, no, this is all I do now. Did you see this happening a year ago?
Well, I mean, even a year ago, like, doing this has kind of helped me. I have really bad anxiety. And so used to when people would come up to me, they're like, oh, you make T-shirts. And I'm like, why are you talking to me? And now I'm just like, people are like, hey, you make T-shirts. I'm like, sure. What do you want? You know, whatever. I got this. I can do it. I have taken on a few that were a little too much for me, but, you know, I get it done.
So before I hand it over to my co-host, I want to know what makes Indie Customs different. And not to say, I can name one thing automatically off the top of my head. So I'm going to say, besides the very cool bag that, like, I got for that one-off order. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say, like, I got this one-off order, it was like one T-shirt that I really wanted made specifically for a fan for AWE. It came in this really nice custom Indie Customs bag and stuff, drawstring bag, whatever. So besides that,
don't be telling people that. I only do that for people I like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I mean, it's the extra small things that matter. But besides, like, you know, doing special things for people that you really, really like, what makes Indie Customs different than any other T-shirt, anybody else out there, you know, making merch and stuff for the boys and for fans?
Well, I don't think people really understand, like, how small Indie Customs really, like, it seems like it's huge because of how far, like, we've reached right now. I literally run this out of my bedroom. Like, we have 4 kids between the two of us. Like, we don't have, like, a whole bunch of extra money just to go, like, buy a building and do all this stuff. Like, right now, I legit run this off of a 6-foot table in my bedroom. And people are like, oh, where's your shop? And where's this? And where's that? And I just laugh at them. And it's like, it's really small and it's a really tight-knit community. Like, yeah, now I have people hitting me up from out of town or whatever, but it's a family. Like, I'm not just some factoring out T-shirts for anybody. Like, it's a close thing for me. Like, it's a personal thing. It's not just some business that, hey, I'm making T-shirts for Joe Bob over in Arkansas. I'm making stuff, and it originally started as me making stuff for wrestlers who were my friends. And then, like, it's grown so much now to where, yeah, I am making stuff for people I don't necessarily know, but at that, like, it becomes personal for me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks podcast. I'm your host, Will Huckabee, with Mika Villas, and tonight we're talking to Indie Customs owner, Kimberly Ann. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my co-host, Mika. Mika, what do you have for our guest tonight?
First and foremost, hello. I've seen her everywhere on social media, and today your Halloween costume was fabulous. The makeup was awesome.
Thank you. So, I'm still halfway in costume right now because I literally just got home.
I was like, oh my God, her makeup is so pretty. I'm so jealous. Okay. Sorry. Girly moment over. you talk about doing this and it's personal, and I can understand that. And being at, you were, I don't know, I'm just listening to your story. It's kind of inspiring, because you were, I guess dating or engaged to Mr. Sleazy, and kind of doing this like, here, let me take care of this, because it takes a woman to do stuff for men, because we all know how how these boys are. But yeah, they're a pain in the butt. And so, I'm sorry, Huckabee is a pain in the butt, especially. Got to make sure I put that out there.
Huckabee is a pain in the ass. There's no doubt about that.
But you doing this, it becomes I guess, a labor of love, so to speak, especially considering that you're literally hand tying and doing all these designs and what have you. Is there a design, or I don't want to say a wrestler, but a design that was just so cool? You talked about the one that you have, the original, I guess, with the black and gold, that I'd love to see a picture of. But is there some design that outside of that one you're like, oh my God, this is like the best thing ever?
There's been a couple of them that I've really, really enjoyed. A lot of the guys will have like pre-made designs that they'll send to me, like Cassie from It's a Work Photography and Design. She makes a lot of the designs, and they get sent to me when I make them. But recently, I've started primarily with the Gymnasty Boys. I've started making some of theirs myself, and I'm a huge Converse shoe fanatic. And they came to me with this idea to make a Converse's Gymnasty logo. And we did it for October, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, where it's a pink shirt with some of them are done in the plain black design, and some of them are like a glittery black design. And it was just a whole bunch of things that I really loved in one shirt, and it seemed so simple, but it's probably one of my favorites because, one, I designed it from scratch, and then I got to make it, and breast cancer awareness is a very personal thing for me. And so it was like I guess, trifecta type thing. It was just really, really great. That was probably one of my favorite ones I've done so far.
That is awesome. I saw that just recently, that T-shirt at Fest, and I was like, oh my gosh, a pink shirt, because a lot of these wrestling shirts, especially if you buy them from the Fed or where have you, or just in general, they're just kind of black and blah, and you might get a splash of color here.
That's a huge thing I tell the guys. Like, yes, it is okay to have black and white T-shirts, but everybody has black and white shirts. Everybody. And even with sleeves, I tell sleeves all the time, like, everybody has black and white shirts. Do something different. And again, Gymnasty started doing that. Over the summer, they had pink and blue tank tops, and people went crazy, to the point that I ran out of stuff to make them, and I had to substitute with a different color for a while until I could get more in. And then they've got a purple shirt. Now they've got a pink shirt, and people love it when you have different colored stuff, because everything's always black and white. And that's coming from somebody who has a primarily black wardrobe. So I'm just do color, and people go crazy.
So you're responsible for that I'm a Gymnasty Girl T-shirt that I had to have because it was so pink and so cute, and it was a tank top. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That was me.
So the splash of color, absolutely. And I know it's probably hard to get glitter on some of these guys' shirts, but you also just don't do wrestling merchandise, and just not T-shirts. Is there a particular fan design or something that comes to mind that you were like, hey, that's pretty interesting and neat, that you might have done recently or maybe coming up?
Actually, there's one that I did in this past week, and again, it's a personal thing for me. I didn't have a good relationship with my dad growing up, and there was this guy who was very involved with me and my brother, and he's an Army veteran. And he's got severe PTSD and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. And he'd asked me to make him a T-shirt or whatever, and it was all kind of a joke or whatever. He's like, hey, I found this bumper sticker. Can you make it into a T-shirt? And I was like, yeah, whatever. And it's a dysfunctional veteran, and it says dysfunctional veteran, leave me alone. And it's got a mock Army logo on it. And it is it's really, really cool if you get a chance to look at it. It's on the social media pages.
I think I did see that, and that is pretty cool. I saw it, and it kind of gave me a double take. I was like, wait. Oh, okay. I like it. So, outside of not sleeping and making all types of merch, and I feel funny when I say this. I've stalked a little social media. I see you guys go live, and you're kind of camera shy, and I totally get it. I believe it or not, I'm kind of camera shy too. Shut up, Huckabee. Um, what else do you do for fun? Something that will relax you, you kick back, or you're not making a shirt, or chasing somebody around, let them give you peace. What's a thing that Kimberly Ann does for Kimberly Ann?
For wrestling shows, I mean, that's really it. On any given day, I have 3 to 7 kids running around my house. And since I now solely work from home, I don't get much of a break. And so wrestling weekends are literally what I live for because I can get out of the house. And lately I've had to take kids with me, but typically we get to go without kids. And so road trips, like getting to go visit all these places that I've never been before and go to wrestling shows and all that, like that's my thing.
Okay, that is awesome. And first of all, here's a question that may get somebody in trouble, probably me. You got all these kids running around. Please tell me you're putting them to work, making them fold T-shirts or something. I mean, you got to watch them, make them do some work. Screw child labor laws.
My youngest one, she's 3, and she loves to come in here, and she'll talk to me while I'm making stuff. She's like, hey, who are you making shirts for today? Or what are you doing? What are you doing? But she's recently started getting interested in helping me do stuff. And so she'll come in here and she'll do little bits of work that, I mean, she's 3. There's not a whole lot she can do. I'm not going to let her go play with a 350-degree heat press. But she'll get in here and she'll help me do as much as she can, and she thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. And I'm like, thank God that, they don't have child labor laws for your own kids.
Screw those child labor laws. Like, here, honey, fold a T-shirt. Good job. Go get your little friends. We'll make this a neighborhood gig.
I mean, I make them bring in boxes when UPS drops off stuff. I mean, that's the worst thing they have to do.
I love it. That's what it's all about. Plus, it's a good experience. I mean, it keeps them busy, and I think that's a really good kind of role model deal where she sees you working, and I am taking and enjoying what you do because you do. It sounds like you're doing it almost 24/7. So that is a true labor of love to kind of do something like this and not sleep and to put a lot of heart behind it. It's not just a corporate crank out of, okay, got to make these shirts or whatever. It's like, okay, let me do these because I like doing this. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Tell Huckabee that Please just walked in.
I'm gonna turn you back over to him. I'm sorry, I have to give you back. I would try to protect you, but he's rather large and he's threatened me on several occasions. So I'm gonna let him talk back to you for a little bit.
All right.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks podcast. I'm your host, the incredible Will Huckabee, along with Mika Village. And tonight, once again, we're still talking to the owner and genius behind Indie Customs, Kimberly Ann. Kimberly, speaking of sleeves, I know we talk to a lot of wrestlers and stuff, and they are always talking about how much it means to them to have, the support of their family and their loved ones and their spouses and stuff. With you being involved with the wrestling business, but not actually being in the ring, and I don't want to call you a supporting actor, because every part of wrestling is important. There's no supporting actor. There's no small parts, only small actors. Mika Villas is proof of that. My question is to you, how much does it mean to have the support of not only your friends and family, but also to have sleeves there with you as well?
Well, see, that's the funny thing is I don't actually have the support of my family. They laugh at me about this. Like, they don't take it serious. They're like, oh, you make T-shirts. When are you going to do something else with your life? And so having sleeves is a huge, huge part of it because there's plenty of days where I'm just like, I am done. I am ready to throw in the towel. I'm ready to give up because I just either get like overwhelmed or somebody will say some smart ass comment to me, and I'm done. I'm just like, I can't do this. He's like, come on now, get your shit together. You got this. He's like, you didn't get this far from just bullshitting around. And then I have the actual like wrestling community, which has, I guess in a sense, become my family. I have like all the people I sponsor, and like even fans who've become family. And then they're all like, hey, I have a couple of them who just give me straight up pep talks every now and then, because I'll get really stressed out, and I'm like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, because as an outside point of view, you wrestlers are assholes, and you're kind of difficult to deal with. And,
I will admit that. I will admit that. Yes, we are.
And I'm like, how do you expect me to actually accomplish this? Like, you got a show in 2 days, and you want 150 T-shirts. Like, no, this is not going to happen. But I really, really need this done. And I'm just like, guys, you got to think these things through. And I'm just like, I get frustrated, and then, I do have his support. And like I said, I told you the story of how it started. Like, without him, there would be no Indie Customs. And, he keeps me going. Like, I might be the creative genius behind everything, and I might do most of it now, but without him, there's not a whole lot to this. Because I would have just given up.
I will say, and we'll go ahead and put Sleeves over, that he is super romantic. If you don't want me to tell the story, I'm not going to tell the story. But being your friend and stuff, and following your blog and reading your blog and being on your social media and stuff, I will say without a doubt that though Sleeves may annoy the hell out of me when I see him, I love him to death. But the way he proposed to you was probably one of the sweetest things ever.
Are we really going to go back to this story?
We're not going to go back to the story if you don't want to. You just say yes or no. It was the sweetest thing ever.
It was the sweetest story. Well, it's because there's kind of funny backstory to it. So, I guess since everybody listening to this doesn't know the story, we went to Florida for WrestleCon on WrestleMania weekend this year. And I'm a huge nerd. Like, I love Harry Potter. I love Star Wars. I love all of it. And he had this huge, ingenious idea to go propose to me in front of the Hogwarts Castle, which I now know. I didn't know at the time. But instead, an hour before, at lunch, I decided to get wasted at the theme park. And so he went to propose to me, and I was, like, freaking out because I kind of figured it out. And he's like, I'm just going to walk away. And so the next day, we're walking around, and he proposed to me in Seuss Landing, which is the Dr. Seuss world, which is one of my favorite, like, all-time things in the whole world. And it was one of those moments where I'm, like, sitting there, and I'm like, this is way too romantic. This is, like, too sweet, too good. Like, what the hell is he doing? Like, this isn't legit. Like, this is stuff you see in stories or in movies and stuff like this. Like, this isn't happening in real life right now. And I'm just, like, sitting there staring at him. And I realized I was standing there for, like, a really long time not saying anything. And I just, like, started nodding my head, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. But he's definitely very romantic. He has his moments.
Now, I said all that to say this because, like I said, Sleeves is a super huge support for not only you in your personal life, but also in business and stuff, and when it comes to the T-shirt company. But we all know, me, you, and Mika, and even CW know, that wrestling is a very male-dominated business. And I like to think that, like, people such as yourself, who are not actually in-ring competitors, but people such as yourself and Kim Artlip are pioneers when it comes to professional wrestling. Like I said, Kim Artlip is the owner / promoter for Ignite Wrestling down in Florida. I want to say there's maybe one other actual T-shirt merchandise company that's actually ran by a female that I know of. With that being said, do you feel like you are not only that you're a pioneer, I guess, that you're blazing the trail for females and stuff who want to get involved in the wrestling business but don't want to be professional wrestlers?
I mean, like, I did actually want to be a professional wrestler. Like, I did. I can't. I got fucked up legs. But I don't know. I mean, I could see where you would say that. I don't think I've ever really thought about it that way because I'm just like a side business. Like, I guess, I mean, you're right. It is paving the way for women to be involved with the wrestling business, but I never really thought about it that way.
I don't know if you can call this a side business when you just told us, yeah, I quit my regular job and this is what I do all the time and I live comfortably enough. Like there are wrestling companies and companies that sponsor people where they go years without having the actual capital to actually sponsor wrestlers. Of course, we've seen, and I'm not going to mention any company specifically, but they have, the quote unquote sponsorships where it's like, hey, if you buy a T-shirt or if you give us this much money, we'll give you a T-shirt and a card and a discount and a code for people to get our stuff on discount. But you actually sponsor the people that you have on your roster, correct?
Yes, and that's why I'm so picky about it. And it's a little bit frustrating sometimes because there are tons of people that I would love to pick up and sponsor, but at the same time, I'm investing in people. It's not just me giving out a free T-shirt or a discount code or anything like that. It's me taking money that I'm making doing this and turning around and putting it back into these guys.
Now, okay, with that being said, you have a crazy list of professional wrestlers that are sponsored. Like your list of sponsored athletes are some of the guys are some of my favorite people in professional wrestling. Of course, former guests on the Wrestling Nerdcast, the Jim Nasty Boys, White Mike, Timmy Lou Retton, of course the aforementioned Mr. Sleeves, because if you're not going to sponsor your fiance, I mean that would be pretty messed up if you're not going to be investing in his future.
He's kind of, he's a part of the business, so technically.
Who else? What? T.J. Boss, Michael Spencer, Joseph Agal. Just James Drake. These got these.
Who else we have?
Say again.
I was trying to go through the whole list in my head. We got Jim Nasty, T.J. Boss, James Drake, Joseph, Michael Spencer. I'm forgetting somebody, and I'm going to feel like crap about this later.
Mr. Sleeves?
No, there's one more.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God, who?
There's Jimmy White Mike.
Oh, yeah, that is it. I always count 7, and I only count 6, but I said Jim Nasty. I didn't separate them. Yeah. So I'm actually announcing more this weekend, though.
It's so amazing, you know what I'm saying? Like, why these specific guys? Before I hand it back to Mika, like, why these specific guys? What stood out overall? You don't have to go into specific for each one, but overall, the 7 guys that you've mentioned, what was it about them overall that they all have in common that made you say, hey, you know what? They have a future when it comes to wrestling, and I want to get behind them.
Well, first and foremost, and this goes for anybody that I even consider sponsoring, I look at, 1, their in-ring work. I'm not going to sponsor somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. 2, their social media presence, because, that's a huge thing. I'm not going to, I'm not going to put my brand on somebody who's never going to show it off. But I also look at what kind of person they are, because I don't want to put my name on somebody and be investing into somebody who is out making themselves look bad or who is rude or, you get the idea. But
so I take it that Leo Rush would not be a sponsored athlete.
I have my own opinions on that, but we won't go there.
I was just picking. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Actually, I didn't even know, I'd seen people talking about the Leo Rush stuff, and I actually had to ask Sleeves about it earlier because I was like, I'm not getting on Twitter just to look to see what this is. But anyways, Jim Nasty Boys were my first, official sponsored athletes. Of course, Sleeves, like I said, he kind of gets it by default. But I've done a lot of work for them over the summer and during the spring and, basically all year for them. And I'm really, really good friends with both of them. And I kept telling myself, I was like, I'm not going to sponsor somebody just because they're my friend. But I got to talking to Timmy Lou one day, and I was like, hey, I'm interested in eventually being able to sponsor people. I was like, from a wrestler standpoint, what do y'all expect from a sponsor? I was like, because I see, like we mentioned earlier, a lot of people throwing that term around loosely, but I wanted to be, if I was going to do it, I wanted it to be something that was going to help, not hurt. And so we got to talking and talking. He helped me figure out kind of the logistics behind everything that I was going to do or what I was going to offer to people. And so I was like, okay, well, this is really cool. And so I sat there and I talked all over with sleeves, and I was like, I want to compile like a list of guys, and I literally have a notebook, not even joking, full of names and resumes and all kinds of, like, anything you can think of. I literally have a notebook that is full of all of it that I go through, and how I, like, it's basically like doing a job interview, because, I have pages upon pages upon pages of people who are like, hey, I'm interested, and then I have guys who sent me in, like, full resumes, including match links and anything. Like, I have all kinds of stuff, but I got it, like, after talking to them for so long about it and being really involved with helping them out, I was just like, hey, one day I showed up at a show. It was actually a Warzone last show, and I was like, hey, I got something for you guys. And they, like, opened it up, and it was, like, my sponsorship package, and it was cute. It was hilarious. I had some, like, crazy gag gifts in it. But they were my first big ones. And then so from that point, I looked at people I thought, not only can I help them, but they would be beneficial to us, people who travel a lot, people who have a lot of potential in their career, like James Drake. He's PWX. He's evolved. He travels. He gets places. And then, we have some of the newer guys, Michael Spencer. He's not necessarily on these huge rosters like other guys, but he has some mad potential. That kid's got a lot of heart. And I think that's really admirable from my standpoint of things. Like, I don't know how y'all view people, but I know how, looking at it from my point of view, I'm just like, to see somebody with that much heart, wanting to do something, wanting to accomplish it, and I've sat there and I've talked to him and I've listened to him tell me, like, what he wants to do and what his plans are. And that's the kind of thing I look for. I'm not just going to hand out a free T-shirt to somebody who's like, hey, sponsor me. I want somebody who's got some go behind him, who really, really wants this.
Well, I mean, me, myself, personally, I love Michael Spencer. Ever since I basically met him when he first got into the business and stuff, training at USIWF with Josh Gary, and we've gone on a couple of road trips, and, I stay in touch with the kid all the time, and whenever I can help him out, like, I was so happy when he started working down at AWE and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I completely 100% agree with you. Like, if you're going to have somebody who's young and new in the business, you can't go wrong with somebody like Michael Spencer.
Yeah, definitely. And then, like my other guys that I do have, they're all spectacular, but their names speak for themselves. TJ Boss, personally, I've been friends with since middle school. Like, we grew up in the same town together. We graduated high school together. Like, we've been friends for forever. And he actually tried to corner me at a show to cuss me out because I hadn't picked him up as a sponsor. And it was actually the day I was going to do that. So he's, like, trying to corner me to argue, and I'm, like, going up to him to talk to him and, like, give him this, sponsored athlete shirt. And he's just like, oh. I was like, yeah, your big ass will try to fight me over this. And
Well, look, I know our time is running short with you and stuff, but I know we got a bunch more questions we're going to try to cram in. With that being said, I'm going to turn it back to Mika Villas for her last couple of questions that I know that she really wants to ask you.
Okay.
I was going to ask if any one of the guys had cornered you and said, hey, sponsor me. I could imagine that there's a few, and I wasn't going to have you name any names, but that was pretty funny. On your wrestling road trips, you are typically the driver. Is that right? It looks like.
Typically, Sleeves drives 2 shows, and I drive home.
Okay. I was going to say, are there any fun, funny, just, oh my gosh, you won't believe these guys in a car stories you can share with us? Or one good one?
Probably my best road trip story that involves any of the other guys would be, we had this one show in Alabama that was absolutely horrible, but the road trips that went along with it were phenomenal. And it was me and Sleeves and White Mike. And I had been really, really sick the week before, and we were like, it was the night before the show, and so we were in my hometown, or not my hometown, but where I live, and we had stopped at the drive-thru to get some food, and White Mike is yelling out the window at this woman, and I'm like, White Mike, get back and get your head in the car. Like, I'm going to yell at him like a freaking kid. And he's just, like, trying to hang out the window and yell at these girls because, you know, White Mike loves him some red bones. And heard all about him. And he's just going on and on and on. And so I roll up all the windows so that he can't do anything. And about that time, he rips ass.
Oh,
and when
God.
I say one of my ass, I mean to the point that I was legit coughing and gagging about to throw up out the window.
Oh, my God.
Like, halfway out the window. Like, I was dying. It was hilarious. I'm like, looking back at it now, it's hilarious. But, that right there, that one story from the night before the whole thing started, sums up the entire weekend of being stuck in the car with him. Because we drove to Alabama, drove back from Alabama, as soon as we got back from Alabama, we went to Charlotte because we had PWX the next day. And that was just probably the, most epic road trip I've had, I think, with anybody else in the car with us.
Oh, my God.
Kim, was that the weekend of the infamous whipped cream spot?
That was the weekend of the whipped cream that everybody loves to forget Sleeves was a part of.
What? I'm going to say, for ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, the whipped cream spot is the spot where it appeared to be that White Mike may or may not have eaten whipped cream out of a grown man's ass. What you don't realize is that
I was there. I'm the only person who can actually say, for a majority of the people, that I was there for that, because there was hardly anybody at that show. But I
remember that because I remember because I seen you the next day at PWX, and that was the first thing you had to tell me. It was like, oh God, this show we went to last night, this spot happened, and then you showed me the spot, and I'm just like, oh my God, oh Jesus.
White Mike did eat whipped cream out of Effie's butt, but Sleeves held Effie, and without Sleeves, there would have been no spot.
The unsung hero in this whole thing. I mean, seriously, truly, because he held Effie. I've seen pictures. I've talked to Effie, and
the video is on YouTube. The whole match is on YouTube, and that is a fucked up match, let me tell you. But there is proof.
All right, that clearly is not your favorite match. Is there one match outside of that's
actually the absolute worst show I've ever been to in my life. That was the only entertaining thing. That was the worst show. I legitimately would have stayed home that weekend. Maybe not from PWX, but that was a miserable experience in itself. But the road trip with White Mike was fun.
All right, that being the worst, can you come with a best that you've had, that you've been at, and just wish the whole world had tuned in and showed up for?
Ooh.
I know it's hard because you go to a lot of shows. Like I said, I've seen you at PWX. I think I saw you this weekend at Fest. I mean, like, you're everywhere.
I didn't get to go to Fest. I was supposed to go to Fest, but we interfered and we didn't get to do that. One of my favorite shows was the PWX Evolve show, but that was primarily because it happened on my birthday, which was just amazing all in all. But personally, I think one of my favorite shows was the recent Shelby show, the Shelby PWX show last month. One, because Sleeves had his Pure debut, which was emotional. I was like, I am like a mom when it comes to anything. I get nervous about anything my kid does or anything he does, and I don't like to let him know that, but I'm like a big ball nerd. You can ask anybody who's near me when he wrestles. Like, I get all tense and I'm standing in the back, like jumping up and down like a little kid, and like that was a huge moment because I know that was one of his big goals for this year was to get on PWX, and so getting to see him accomplish that was a huge thing for me too, and then that entire show was just emotional. Like, that is what I feel like wrestling should be. Like, it should have you going from high to low, high to low, high to low, not only with excitement and everything, but there was so much going on during that show. It was a phenomenal show.
That was honestly, it truly was a good show. I totally, completely agree with you. Speaking of highs and lows, this is me turning you once more over to Will Huckabee, because, you know, that is a low point, but I'm pretty sure he'll end it with a bang.
Yeah. Like I said, Kim, I know that our time with you is running short and stuff, but I want to ask you a couple of quick round robin questions, you know what I'm saying? Things that, so our listeners and fans can get to know you, the actual person behind all the T-shirt designs and stuff. So, favorite go-to song?
Favorite what?
Favorite go-to song? If you're in the car, you're on a road trip, what's the one song you got to hear?
Oh, God. AJR Week.
Favorite song?
That is like that's what that was, right?
Yeah, favorite song. That's so what was the answer again?
Week by AJR.
Okay, let's see. One T-shirt design that you wish you would have done.
That I wish I would have.
Yes.
I don't know, because anything I want to do, I do it.
A T-shirt that's out right now that you're like, man, I wish I would have done that.
I don't know. Which shirt still have it? I've never said it before, but I don't really know. If a shirt that's already out. I don't know. I don't think I have one.
All right, you're from the South, so I've got to ask you this question: sugar or salt on grits?
Salt.
I was just making sure, because if you would have said sugar, I would have cut the interview right now. Like, ugh. All right, let's go. Wawa or Sheetz?
Wawa.
What?
Yeah, I know. I still have like my throat cut over here because sleeves are like glaring me now.
Don't worry about it. I got your back. Don't worry about it.
He just got off work and came in, and we got a Halloween party to go to a little bit, and so he like changed, and he's Twisty the Clown from American Horror Story. So he's like sitting over the room, like threatening to kill me.
All right, last one, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Waffle House or IHOP?
Waffle House. I don't particularly like either. I prefer Little House, but if I choose between those two, I'll choose Waffle House.
All right. Well, once again, Kim, thank you for being a guest on our show. This is the time of the show where we let you put over, yourself, Indie Customs, and if you want to, you can even put over sleeves. But go ahead and give all of our listeners and all of our fans. Say that again.
I say, yeah, people need to book him. He's talented. They look at him and think he's crazy, but he's actually got a lot of go in him.
It's the chest hair.
Hey, it's actually really lovely, okay?
Okay. Chest hair is actually making a comeback when it comes to wrestlers. But go ahead and give all our fans and listeners all of your social media, where they can contact, where they can find stuff from Indie Customs, where they can order it from, and where they can follow not only you, but your great company.
We have Indie Customs on Facebook, and then we have, I think our thing is at Indie Customs 8 on Instagram. That's about all the social media we have now.
There we go. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, look, I want to make sure that I say this while she's still on the line with us. Like, Kim, and by proxy, Indie Customs does great work. I have a huge order that she's been holding off from making for me, but I'm about to do this huge order from her. From this point on, like a lot of times when it comes to anything, gimmick merchandise-wise, my stuff will be coming from Indie Customs. Give them a follow, give them a look, definitely support not only themselves, but all of their sponsored athletes. Once again, those would be the Gymnasty Boys, Joseph Agal, Michael Spencer, TJ Boss, James Drake, and even Mr. Sleeves. Kim, thank you for being a guest on the show, but I would be remiss to ask, would you happen to be on the lookout for a commentary team and or a podcast to start sponsoring?
Yeah. Maybe. Depends if I like who it is.
Oh, well, Mika's sorry. She's not going to sponsor you guys.
That's
Kim,
something I I actually posted about that a couple weeks ago, that I was interested in, like, maybe not monetarily sponsoring anybody for anything like that yet, but I would love to be able to, like, maybe barter or kind of, I don't know, build those relationships for when I am ready to sponsor, like, other companies and other businesses.
Well, look, whenever that time comes, definitely don't forget your friends here at the Wrestling Nerdcast. Like I said, Tamika is the commentator for Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment and Mucha Lucha Atlanta. And, of course, you already know me, wrestler, podcast host, et cetera, et cetera. But, Kim, thank you for being a guest on the show. Your Halloween costume was totally and completely badass. Your T-shirts are badass. You are badass. And we'll see you down the road, all right?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a guest on the show. Tell Steve I said hey.
Say hey. What up, though?
Bye, Kim. Mika.
Yeah.
Kim, owner of Indie Customs, a fantastic lady. What did you think about her?
I am so inspired. Like, that's the word. Because, again, this started, as she said, kind of like, move out of the way, let me do this for you. And here it is, it is thriving, it is booming, it is growing, and it has so much potential to just be even bigger. The sponsoring, the giving back, I think it's huge, it's important to support independent wrestling and to give back, to have these guys that are sponsored athletes that are going to represent her brand, and to have, again, standards, not just, hey, I like this guy and I'm gonna give you a shirt, or you're my friend, I'm gonna give you, a shirt. I looked at the Indie Customs, they have a kind of a application about, being a sponsor athlete or podcast or show or what have you. That is serious business. That's someone who, this is not just something that they're doing. This is something that she loves to do, and she's taking it extremely serious and making sure that she is represented and her brand is represented by just the best, not just because of popularity or what have you. So that's a strong female role model, and a strong female that people can get inspiration from, male or female, and look and say, you know what? I can do something like this, or I can take something that could be considered a hobby and make it something more because of this sport, this industry that we love. You have to have a passion for this and what you do in life, and she clearly has a passion for it and believes in what she's doing, and that's awesome.
Exactly. CW, this is your first show with us on the Wrestling Nerdcast and stuff. What did you think about our guest tonight?
Good guest, pretty good guest. She answered the questions to the best of her ability, answered what you asked of her anyway, so can't really complain too much about that.
I love you already, CW. I completely and totally, just am in love with the concept of Indie Customs. A lot of times, and like I said, I don't want to talk bad about other companies, because that's not what we do here, the Wrestling Nerdcast people. But we've all seen on social media, we've heard the stories, we've heard the accusations and stuff, where when people say, oh, this person's sponsored by us, it's not so much as sponsor, they're more like investors or whatever. Not even investors, but they're more like contracted help. Where it's like, hey, if you give us this money, we'll give you a T-shirt and a discount code. So when people order from us, they give us your code and they get a discount, et cetera, et cetera. But I love the fact that when she sponsors people, she actually sponsors them and does what she's supposed to do as a business. And the fact that this company, legitimately, Mika, I've known her for a little over a year, and legitimately her business has grown to where she's able to do this for not only these 7 guys, 5 individual wrestlers in a tag team, but she's also looking to expand her actual branch of sponsored athletes is amazing. And it's not just that she's not doing like a lot of companies where she's going for the indie darlings. She's not going for all of the ROH, the Evolve, and the FIP, and the ROW talent and stuff. You know, she's looking at guys that she has a personal interest in, guys that she believes in, that she has faith in, guys that she gets along with, and she's doing it because she wants to help and not because she wants to make money.
That's that again, that those standards, that, you know, making sure that she is represented well, that means a whole lot.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, like, if you wonder what that sounds in the background, CW has a bunch of dogs, and obviously they're ready to get something to eat. So with that being said, Mika, let's go ahead and wrap this up. What do you got coming up this weekend?
Honestly and truly, I'm not sure if what I have planned this weekend. It's going to be a spur of the moment weekend. There is some wrestling happening somewhere in this beautiful tri-state area, whether it be Atlanta, Florida, North, South Carolina, Tennessee. I'm going to be there. I just don't know where yet. Stay tuned to my social media. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on the Snapchat at Mika Villas, and keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. And I also post wrestling related things as well. Feel free to hit me up, say hi, be nice. No unsolicited, please.
Well, this weekend, Saturday, I will be in Princeton, West Virginia for West Virginia Championship Wrestling. I will say that, Mika, if you don't have that to do, you might want to get some friends up and drive the 6 hours to Princeton. A lot of your favorite wrestlers will be there. It's myself, along with Kevin Zander, who is a trainee, I guess a former student of the WWA 4 Dojo, along with some other friends of mine that may or may not come from the state of Georgia and surrounding tri-state areas, as you like to call, taking on the Jim Nasty Boys and Benny Conley and two other guys. So I have a 5-on-5 Survivor Series style match, I guess, coming up this Saturday in Princeton, West Virginia. Also on the card is Evolve wrestler and standout, and the person who I like to call Mountain Yoda, Jason Kincaid, taking on the WVCW heavyweight champion, Aaron Biggs. It's also the WVCW Hall of Fame show. They do their yearly Hall of Fame ceremony. So it's going to be a great show for WVCW and for West Virginia wrestling. So if you have a chance, ladies and gentlemen, come on out. Be sure to follow me on all things social media, on Facebook, William Huckabee, on Instagram, William Huckabee, Twitter, WA Huckabee. Follow the Wrestling Nerdcast on Facebook at Wrestling Nerdcast and on Twitter at WNerdPod. And be sure to catch me every Thursday night for the flagship show for the Angry Marks podcast with the great Sudoku Jason, with Abby A, with Stevie J, on the Thursday night AMP, where we talk all things wrestling, not just WWE, but we talk New Japan, we talk, I guess, TNA, GFW, Impact, whatever the hell you want to call it. We talk indie wrestling. We talk British, we talk Lucha Libre, we talk American Indies. Check us out every week on Thursday night AMP. Be sure to download and share this broadcast with all of your friends and stuff. Let them know how awesome we are. Once again, I would like to say thank you to our guest, Kimberly Ann, the owner and operator of Indie Customs, and a huge thank you to her fiance, Sleaze, for, letting her speak to us tonight on this Halloween special, our 1-year anniversary. Yay! 1 whole year. I wonder if Mika's going to make it a year. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would say shout out to our producer, our friend of the show, Kevin Killer Kev. We miss you. Can't wait to get back. Take your time whenever you're ready. Your spot's here, because I don't know if CW's going to be able to handle us. But thank you, CW, for filling in and being the newest addition to the show. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. I don't know if Mika does.
Of course I do.
But, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our brand new producer, C-Dub, on behalf of my co-host, one half of Wrestling's Cutest commentary team, and the lover of waffles, the voice of the speech impediment, and the receiver of all things unsolicited, Mika Villas, I am the Worldwide Grand Prix champion, the IWA North Carolina champion, the Southern Gentleman, the disrespectful intellectual, the Morning Star, the Incredible Huck, Will Huckabee, saying peace out, support indie wrestling. Good night.